Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Industry Celebrities. My guest today is Ian Mattingly, and he shares a little advice to his younger self, as well as gives us insight on how he got into the family business. Okay, hello, and welcome to another episode of Industry Celebrities. I'm that Kimberly, and I'm here today with my guest, Mr. Ian Mattingly. Hi, Ian.
Hi, how are you, Kimberly?
I'm doing great.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
No, well, thank you for joining me and helping and providing this beautiful office space for me to be able to set up my equipment.
Anytime. We can set up a standing date. How about
Yes.
that?
Oh, I love that.
Bring your folks in.
Okay.
I'd love to have it. It's always
Awesome.
good to see you.
Thank you. So, tell the folks what industry you're in and just a little bit of background about yourself.
Sure. Well, I'm in the property management and apartment investment industry. So I've been doing that in various capacities since 2004. So I guess that's over 15 years now. But really, it started much younger than that. The company I now run, LumaCorp, is a company that my father started in 1983. And growing up in the property management industry, first with a single 600-unit property under management in Pleasant Grove. My mom was in the leasing office, and I'd sit in the back with my trains, and
It was a family affair.
It was a family affair, absolutely. And we've grown from that first experience, and we currently own and manage 24 apartment communities. All here in Texas, mostly in the DFW area.
Mm-hmm.
But we do everything we are a vertically integrated company. So we do everything from the property management all the way up through the asset management,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the asset syndication, putting together partnerships, structuring the investments.
So you had to learn all that, or did you so when you were at the first property,
Yeah.
as a kid playing with the trains, did you know that you automatically wanted to go into the family business?
Oh, quite the opposite.
Oh, okay.
No, it was the last thing. It was the
You're
last thing I
no.
wanted to do. I wanted to do what you're doing.
Oh, okay. Yes, you are a lot more technology savvy.
Well, my degree when I went off to college, my degree is actually in film and video production.
Yes.
And so I went to school, actually thinking I was going to be either a screenwriter or an entertainment lawyer, or maybe both.
Okay.
So I did a pre-law / multimedia program at Northwestern, and came out and actually was working at the American Bar Association for a while. Built their continuing legal education online e-commerce marketplace. So I was able to bring in kind of some technology. I was able to do some multimedia. We made videos. We went out into the field and recorded attorneys teaching seminars, and then we produced and published those for sale on the e-commerce platform that we built. So did a lot of stuff that had absolutely nothing to do with the apartment industry, because for me, growing up in the business, I would walk through one of our properties on the way to my middle school, to my junior high, and would pick up trash and clean pools, and so my exposure was not very glamorous.
Yes.
And for those of you in the property management field, it is far from glamorous.
Yes, it's
whereas movies seemed much more exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So when did you decide? When did the shift happen that you were like, okay, maybe I will,
right,
come into the family business, come into more. I remember seeing you at a few events,
Sure.
like slowly but surely. But like to see you full time, like when did you start going where you were here every single day and it was I'm going to do this?
So I was in the apartment business actually outside of LumaCorp before I came back to Dallas.
Okay.
So after college, I moved to Denver, and followed a woman. So as one does.
It does. It happens.
And
love makes you do crazy things.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't really have a good plan or an idea, but it was 21, and that was okay.
Yeah.
Had enough to lease an apartment for 3 months
Mm-hmm.
and see what happened. And I actually ended up working in the car business. Started selling cars.
Wow.
And
that's where you got the good calling skills. Always dialing. I remember doing a phone
smiling
and dialing.
Actually in high school, I would work during the summer. I would work at our properties as a leasing consultant. And we had a fantastic leasing consultant that I worked with, Erin Mahoney, who later became LumaCorp's first director of training.
Okay.
Back in the 90s. And I worked very closely with her. And I have a minor in psychology as well. But I think I learned more about human psychology and the psychology of sales just from working with Erin Mahoney as a leasing consultant than I did in my entire college education. And so I was able to bring that to bear as a salesman. I was very successful as a car salesman at Saturn. No haggle pricing.
They were one of the first. I do remember those.
Very hippy dippy and very cool.
Yeah.
Plastic cars. It was very interesting.
I had a friend who had one our senior year in high school, so it was a really cool car.
Absolutely. But I was particularly good at the phone aspect. And so they actually, within 6 months, had promoted me to business development manager, which meant I was working in the call center for the dealership group, the Spillong dealerships out of Colorado Springs. And we had a call center environment. And I eventually went and built a call center strictly for their Ford dealerships after that. So kind of got into the sales and marketing side of the business, and I think picked up a lot of useful skills that I've been able to translate to
absolutely
here in the apartment industry. But the hours were long.
Yes. That's a tough. If you can do that, you can do any kind of sales. But it is definitely a tough industry to be in and to have a long-standing. I mean, not that they're not, but have a long-standing career that you retire from. It's a hard business. So you decided no.
So I did 4 years doing that, and an opportunity came up to join a boutique brokerage firm focused on the apartment industry, Apartment Realty Advisors, which is now Newmark Grubb something or other. But they hired me on as a research analyst. Took a massive pay cut, but said they would sponsor me to get my real estate brokerage license.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, that was a good deal.
Yeah.
And so worked as a research analyst and then a financial analyst, and had the opportunity to actually open 2 new brokerage offices in Phoenix and Salt Lake City, supporting the sales teams there before getting a portfolio of my own and working with a phenomenal mentor, Ken Green, who I still consider one of my greatest mentors and a very good friend. I had dinner with him just a couple months ago when I was in Colorado.
Shout out to Ken.
Yeah, shout out to Ken Green. And he was a managing partner for Coldwell Banker Commercial. And so as kind of a semi-retirement gig, he was essentially mentoring new salespeople.
Okay.
And so worked with him on the brokerage side through 2007. When I came back to Dallas and actually came in as an on-site property manager. We were doing a $2 million renovation at a property in Carrollton. And so came in, did on-site property management, managed the renovation project.
Learned extra things.
Learned how to take the sales brain and translate that into reality. There were a lot of things that I would tell potential investors. Oh, you can knock this wall out and do this and all that. You'll make $1 million in value that in practice were not so practical. So that was a very good practical experience. But I was able to bring a lot of, again, the sales experience that I had, the call center experience, managing people. The average age in my call center was 19 and a half years old.
Wow.
So, working with kind of younger people, although at the time I was younger myself, didn't have all the gray in the beard. Actually grew the beard just to be a property manager so people would take me seriously.
Yeah, they would stop. So they wouldn't refer to you as, oh, he's just a kid. He doesn't know any better.
Right.
Yeah. I know that feeling.
So that was kind of my reintroduction to
Mm-hmm.
LumaCorp back in 2007. And,
That's awesome.
Worked a number of different positions in the organization over the years until 2015 when I took over as president.
Your dad said no more.
Well, I'm really glad he's actually still involved.
Yeah.
He's still a great mentor.
Yeah.
And we talk almost every day. So.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it was done right. Like that you got to go out and taste a couple other little things, not be forced and shoved like, hey, you have to take this business over. I feel like I know a few friends that, not necessarily, that was not their main passion.
Right.
And they didn't get their chance to go out and come back, or, or because they went out when they wanted to come back, they couldn't, or, there's all, so just that gradual progression of, hey, I think I'm going to go ahead and try this, something else, and then coming back in. It definitely sounds like a smart move on your father's part, for sure. And yours too. I mean, I
don't know that it was a master plan.
I know, but the organic, it sounded very organic, and it sounded very, natural where, my mother retired with State Farm and she was absolutely, forbid. She was like, she did not want me to do that. She just wanted me to go out. She's like, you can, it's a good company, but go try other things first. Sure. And I was just like, I don't know, because but it was, she told me I had to, it wasn't like a choice.
Right.
And then I didn't come back, obviously I didn't ever, go back down that road, but yeah.
Well, I think that one of the kind of pivotal moments in my life, certainly in my professional life, I was 18 years old. I just graduated from high school, and my father sat me down at our kitchen table and said, all right, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know if you ever decide to get into the real estate industry.
That's good.
I'm like, all right, I probably better get some paper. He's been very successful in doing this. I should probably pay attention.
Take some notes.
Yeah, I took some notes. So I got a notepad, 8.5 by 11 notepad, and pen poised. And it was about 3 minutes, and I filled half a page. And he said, and that's all you need to know.
That's it?
That's it. Wow. And I kind of sat there for a moment. I'm like, really? That's it? He's like, yeah, that's it. Everything else is window dressing. But, if you know these few things,
you'll be okay.
You'll be okay. And it was really very, very simple things. It was things like, look for opportunities to add value, and you can add value with people, you can add value with product, you can add value with promotion.
Yeah.
These are the ways that you add value, and you make your money on the buy side, not on the sell side. Do not expect the next person to buy from you to be a fool.
Yeah.
That has made more millionaires penniless than any other trade. And so these very simple things.
Yeah.
But I still have that half sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper, and
that's pretty cool.
The last thing he said was, and remember, it's a lot easier to get rich slow than it is to get rich quick.
Yes. That is great advice.
Definitely some people hit the jackpot
yeah.
and get rich quick, but we here at LumaCorp are in the get rich slow business by doing the same small things right every single day.
Yeah. That makes the tortoise, right? That wins the race.
Tortoise and the hare, absolutely.
Definitely. So what would you say is your, what do you enjoy the most about being in multifamily and what you do every day?
Well, what I think I enjoy the most is just the sheer number of different things that I get to do. I mean, over the course of the day, I get to play attorney, I get to play therapist. I mean, anybody who's managed people, it's 80%.
It happens.
Therapy.
Yes.
That
is funny.
So again, that minor in psychology is really paying off.
Yes, I can see that.
So get to do that. I get to read contracts. I get to do financial analysis and put on my nerdy quant hat.
Yeah.
I get to work with technology companies, and this is one of the things that I think makes LumaCorp a little bit different is that we're not a big company. We're not a company that invests millions of dollars. We don't have our own venture capital arm to develop software solutions, but we do leverage technology to be very efficient. And we provide, I believe, a world-class residential experience and a world-class employment experience because of the ways we leverage technology to be an efficient operator. And we do that without a huge budget because we will actually go out and we'll find best of breed technology solutions, and we'll work with those technology providers to build better platforms and better systems to support us. So we were able to partner.
You were one of our first all-in
Absolutely,
portfolios.
yeah.
Kathy.
Are we allowed to say the name? To capture the market.
Yes.
And you came out with a unique platform and worked with you and said, here are the things that we'd like it to be able to do, and you were able to do that and work with us to do that. So I think that's something that we do that's a little bit different, and I really enjoy that aspect of the business. Getting to work with experts in many different disciplines. Yeah,
and trying to find the next, whatever the next thing, because things are always changing. From any kind of technology, you name it, it's never going to be the same. So I have enjoyed seeing that evolution of the industry come along with that aspect. Even though, like, I'm sure when you came in, back in 2015, that you were, you had seen so much on the outside that you had to baby steps to introduce these things. Like, hey guys, it's
been a process. If I can talk about some weaknesses, because it's certainly not been all glory.
Perfect.
And rainbows, but it has been trying to pull people along too fast and push change.
Yeah, you can't. It's a gradual process.
I mean, the median tenure in our corporate office is somewhere north of 15 years.
Yeah.
And so
that's awesome.
We have fantastic people.
Says a lot. Absolutely.
Absolutely. We have fantastic people who have been doing this a very long time.
Yeah.
And the great news is there are new resources and new ways of doing things that have enabled them to be much more efficient.
Yeah.
We operate very lean at the corporate office. And that gives us and gives our partners and investors confidence that we're spending their money wisely, but that's caused people to have to learn how to do things in different ways. And sometimes that's been painful.
Absolutely. I know that it's not, it took us 3 years to get our first client. It might have taken, after that 3 years, another year to, finally meet Kathy, back when Kathy was here.
Yeah.
And for her to say, okay, we're going to do this all in, but it's a process of, getting everybody on board, no matter what industry or, what company you're with. Change can be scary for anyone.
Absolutely.
Like, it is what it is. Not everybody is, always good with that. Like, I just close my eyes and jump most of the time, but it's still kind of painful sometimes.
Yeah,
so
well, hopefully you strap on a parachute.
Yes, first. I try to whenever I
And I'm glad you mentioned Kathy Whitman, because, I think, if you're trying to create a narrative, Kathy Whitman was the executive vice president of LumaCorp when I came on board as a property manager.
I never knew her exact title. I just know that she was.
Yeah, she was running the show.
She was.
She was running the show for sure. And I certainly count her among my many mentors.
Yeah.
I think the arc of my life has really been kind of finding mentors and learning from them and leveraging that knowledge to the next step. And so I've had so many mentors, and Kathy certainly among them.
And good for you for being open to seeking, whether it was by accident or on purpose, whichever it is, that was something that I didn't learn in college. I just, my grandfather, I could say, was one of my mentors, my mother.
Mine
and my
too.
father.
We'll have to compare grandfather
Yes.
stories. I've got some good ones. Myron was a unique individual.
Mine was too. But like moving away from home and, when you get out of your own element and you meet other people, I definitely can say, looking back, having mentors of people that guided you along the way and you just connected with them, and they were and you listened, whether they thought you listened or not. I'm sure it sounds like you're much like me, like take notes,
Yeah.
or now I record a lot more.
I had a micro cassette recorder from age 12. I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But definitely taking those notes or listening to the recording to go back and just remind yourself of those things that, hey, oh yeah, I get a lot of epiphany, like I get a lot of what's the word I'm looking for,
Eureka moments.
yes.
Yeah.
Or deja vu's, like I felt
Okay.
like this was, I was there at a young, like this has already happened to me, and
Right.
9 times out of 10 it was somebody telling me, hey, this is going to happen, or keep an eye out for this,
Right.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
It's always better to learn from someone
I
else's
know. Listen, yes.
experience.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. So the one standing question on this podcast is, what advice would you give to your younger self?
So, I've been giving this a lot of thought.
Oh, okay.
Good. Because you want it to be pithy, but somewhat humorous, but meaningful, right?
Yeah.
So, you want to answer it
Yeah.
well. So I think my knee jerk was just buy everything you can in 2009. But, really that's...
Not from an investment
Right.
standpoint, more from like before
No,
you
I
became
understand
that savvy person.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still not there yet. I'm working on
Okay.
it. It's a work in progress. But I think if I were to grab my 20-year-old self or 21-year-old self, I would say courage.
Mm-hmm. Have the courage.
Be courageous, and don't worry so much about how you're going to be perceived, because if you're doing the right things the right way,
Uh-huh.
people will take notice.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. Yeah. That's a great one. I feel that I'm still learning that. Like that's definitely something that we don't get enough. We don't hear enough all the time. I feel like now we're hearing that more.
Yeah.
And we all go through that cycle of, for me, when I went away to college, it was the first time I'd ever been away from home. So definitely you're worried about, but I took the courage to go away.
Yeah.
But it was making friends and, what classes or, whatever it was. So there was always, but what will people think? And, you kind of just always have to get over for sure. And then you get confidence because you do some things right. And then you come into a new industry or you do something new and you have to remind yourself again. Yeah. But that's great advice.
And you can be aware of people's perceptions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without making that the overall goal.
Yes.
And so, again,
awareness.
Yeah. I mean, I had this entertainment industry focus. That's purely about other people's perceptions of you. And that's so important.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think having the character to do the right thing, even when it may not be the popular thing. Yes. I think that's absolutely.
Yeah. The right
critical.
things always. Yes, absolutely. Well, that's great. That's great advice to your younger self. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the platform.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Industry Celebrities with Ian Mattingly. If Ian's advice struck a chord with you, please let us know in the comments below. Also, if you know somebody that could use Ian's advice, maybe tag them below or even send this episode to them. And last but not least, please rate this podcast on whichever platform you're listening to. I would truly appreciate it. And until next week, remember, sharing is caring. Have a great one.